video today on repairing a water pump for an RV, a freshwater pump. This one is a SHURFLO. It's actually out of my truck camper right over there. And I took it out this weekend and tried to turn my water on and nothing happened. And so I pulled the pump out of it, and this is it here. This is a SHURFLO 200-210-39, and if you look and if you can see the manufacturer's date on there, it's only 30 years old. I don't know why it broke already. But so I thought I would take it apart and see what's going on with it, and show you what's inside of this thing. I've actually already taken it apart and I know what the problem is, but I thought I'd put it back together and then do a little video on it so I could share it on YouTube. And so I'll start with saying that getting this out of the RV is, at least for mine, it was pretty easy access. You've just got 4 screws holding it down on the floor, and then there's an input line here, water coming from the water tank, and then exit line over here. And those are just plastic screw-on connections, real easy to get off. And then you've just got 2 wires to disconnect, a black one going to ground and a red one going to your hot wire. And that's it. Drain your water first, otherwise you're going to have a mess like I did. It's not so easy to block that line after you open it up because of the way the connection is, unless you already know what it is and you've got somebody or some way to block it. Anyway, once you get it out, we'll just take it apart and show you what's inside of this thing. Okay, you start, you've got some screws on the front here. These 3 on the outside, they have little nuts behind them, so don't lose those when you undo it, but this all comes apart pretty easily. And then you've got 3 more here. You need to pull those out. This wire here connects underneath. You can just pull it off of that connector to get it out of your way. And then just unscrew these. These are longer. Okay, so that comes off like that. These are your little diaphragm valves here, and then this just pulls right off of the front here like that. And if your motor works fine, there's no need to do anything further with this. I believe you can just buy these this part and replace it if you need to. But the case with mine was, when I turned it on, the motor would try to turn, but it couldn't. It was just locked up. You just get a hum, and it would just start sucking amps, but it would not turn the motor. And so I thought I either had a motor problem or a bearing problem, and turns out that the motor is fine. And there's 2 bearings in here, and one of them was locked up. And you can see inside there that you've got access. This thing spins. Well, it's kind of hard to... You can see how that spins. So you got to turn this so that you have access to these screws underneath here in order to get this thing apart if you've got bearing problems. And that turned out to be the problem with mine. So I'll take that off now. Actually, this thing doesn't spin until you get the screws out of it, which I forgot to put them back in. So you're going to actually have screws in these holes here, just one of these holes on each of the legs here. So one there, and one there. And these are the screws that go into that. And they're just Phillips head. They come right out real easy. So you pull those out. Then you spin this, or actually it's already in the right position. So you just, then you take out these other screws, and then this whole thing will come apart. And you can just pull it out like that, and you've got this piece that comes off the bottom. That's the diaphragm itself. And then you've got this triangular plate that sits inside of this as well. So anyway, those are not the problem. The problem is, dump these screws out of here. This bearing right here, it's frozen. This white plastic piece should spin inside of here, but it won't because this bearing is frozen. So you have to take this apart, knock that bearing out of there and replace it. And this bearing here on the other end is the exact same bearing as this one, and they are an NTN, and the number is 6202LB, and it's printed right on the rubber part on the bearing there. But these are easy to replace and easy to find. We have a bearing shop in this little town here. I'm not even in a very big town, and they had it in stock, no problem. So here's the new bearing right here. And this, if I'm not mistaken, was a 35 millimeter outside diameter. The inside diameter on where the shaft goes through is 15 millimeter, and the width of the bearing itself is 11 millimeters. I'm pretty sure that's correct, but if it isn't, I'll make a note in the comments below. Okay, so now you have to separate these, and these bearings are pressed in there, but it's not real difficult to get them apart. So if you don't have something to slide this that will slide in between here, I'll show you a little trick. It's not the best way of doing things, but it'll work anyway. So we'll get that going right now. You get a pair of channel locks and open it up enough to where you can fit the channel lock in between here, just like that, and then you just use it as something to hold this while you pound on this to knock it out. And it's not the best way, but if you don't have anything else, it'll work. So I just hold it over the edge here and then pound on it with a hammer and something that will, you can either knock out the little white insert in the middle or just knock the whole bearing out. You're going to have to take that out anyway, so just knock out the white part first. And a 10 millimeter deep well socket works perfect for that. Fits right in there on the white part. And just tap it. It is not difficult to get out, so you don't have to hit it too hard. There it goes. So that's what that looks like. Now you need to knock it out of the other end, or at least, you know, in this case I do, because this is the bearing that's frozen. So I'll put this over here and just put this back in here, and there it goes. Now I've got to get the bearing out of this piece, and that's not too difficult. I just kind of do the same thing and just knock it through. that's that. So that's the bad bearing. So all I need to do now is just put the new one in here. And I think I'll do that by putting it on here this way and just knocking it in. This block of wood on it. That looks good. Okay, now I need to put this this piece back in, and remember you need the offset side to go in here. You just set that on there and knock it in. The other one goes on like this. You see, I can almost just push that on by hand. And then just put it back in and screw it all down. And you put these three back in. All right. Now, this can go back on here. So I'll do the short screws. Put the nuts in here. Okay, that's all back together. And now I'm going to show you how to take this motor apart, even though I don't need to because it works fine. And I also wanted to show you amazingly the good shape that it's in after being used for 30 years in this camper. You just take these two screws out here. Okay, now this cap will pull off the front here, and then you can just push this whole unit off the back end. And it's a little bit difficult to push because the magnets are so strong. They want to hold it in there, so you got to put some pressure on it to get it out of there. So that's what you end up with. It's the armature. And what I really wanted to show you is these brushes on this thing. So I'll pull this off of here. Look at those brushes. Those have been used for 30 years. I mean, obviously it's been sporadic use because it's in a camper, but it just amazes me that there's that much left um, after that much use. So that's a good thing. So anyway, to put this back together, it's a whole lot easier if you put the put this back in here first before you put it back in the housing there, because you can spread these brushes apart doing it this way, and you just need to get yourself a screwdriver or something and push these brushes back. You kind of need to do it back and forth a little bit until it slides on there. There it goes. And just push it all the way in. And when you pull this up, when you pull this off, I didn't show you, but there's a couple of washers in there in between. Don't lose those. So then you get it back on like that. Then just slide it back into the housing from the back. And remember, this magnet's going to try to pull it in, so hang on to it. And you might want to stick your finger through or your thumb and get it on there so it doesn't jerk it all the way in right away. Just do it slowly till you can get it in there. See how it kind of jumps like that? Okay, and then you want to line this up with the center here. It's got a little fin there that goes right in the middle. And then that sets on there like that. Then you want to put the front piece, the front cap on. And again, it's got one of these, like a little notch here, or a little piece down here, and that's going to be right in the middle of the bottom. So just slide it back over the shaft and get it lined up so it's right in the middle of the bottom here, and then that'll go right on there. And make sure it's all secure, and put your screws back in, your two long ones on the side here. Hold on to the cap when you do that, because it's going to try to push it off. See how that is? Now these here, you want to get them good and tight, because there's nothing that you're going to hurt by doing that. You know, just, you know, not obviously not so tight that you're going to strip them out, but this is all metal, so it's pretty sturdy. When you're tightening down the plastic or the metal, the screws on the plastic, get them good and snug, but don't get them so tight that you're going to be cracking any plastic. Oh, Mal. Say hi to the camera, Mal. What's going on? Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, so now we just need to put this piece back on it, and we just need to slide the shaft through there. We just slide it on there. Oh, that went right in. That was lucky. If you get it off, see, it'll stop. It won't go any further. Anyway, you just have to twist it until it goes. Well, there we go. Okay. And then make sure this is lined up. One way to tell if it's lined up is you got this part right here lined up with that little notch. And then you can put your screws back in. And these are the inner screws here that go in here. One here. You want to help now? They're not going to be able to see with you standing there, Mal. Now, where'd the rest of those screws go? Oops. There's one of them. Oh, I think the other one's still in there. Okay, one right here. And get that lined up. I'll reattach this wire. And now the only thing left is to hook it back up in the camper and turn it on and see what happens. Okay, I got that outlet or inlet connected without too much trouble and didn't actually spill very much water, so it's off to a good start here. Now I'll connect the outlet. Now I'm just going to use these channel locks just to get it snug. I don't want to over tighten this. This is all plastic, and so it doesn't take much to get that to seal. So that should be good right there. Now get these screws back in here. Alright, now just a matter of connecting the wires back up. That is it. Now, the test. Faucets are off, but it should run up to pressure as soon as I turn this switch on. So let's see what happens. Hey, there we go. I got water again. So, alright, I think we got a problem solved here. Okay, thanks for watching.